Good morning and welcome back to the woods. Today's video is all about this. This is the MK2 TRIBUTE knife and I'm going to be putting it through its paces today, see if I like it. Obviously this is the prototype, so not the finished design, but I think it's going to be pretty close. Just got here, well, about 5 minutes. I've gathered some sticks on the way in, got everything ready now to make a quick cup of tea, but the midges are nibbling, so I'm going to get a fire going quick. Quick. I'm assuming some of you were thinking, why did he make a feather stick? Why didn't he just light the twigs with a lighter? Well, basically, you make a feather stick, it's a lot of flames. A jet lighter is so fierce, it doesn't really want to light the twigs like a big flame would. So I always make a little feather stick or some scrapings or something. Well, there we are. That is a really nice quick fire, and hopefully I'll have tea very soon. Tea has been drunk. Right, quick recap. If you're new to the channel or you've missed a few videos, I basically 3 years ago I came up with a knife design which I call the MK2 TRIBUTE knife. Basically made a knife which I thought that the great MK2 would have been happy with. Slight take on the bush tool, slightly different handle, that a protruding tang instead of a plate like on the Skookum. They had 3 holes in the handle and a nice simple Kydex neck sheath, because I know that Moz preferred Kydex to leather. And I started selling these knives at a reasonable price. Obviously I'm making them myself, selling them at a reasonable price. But to cut a long story short, in the last 2 years that knife has developed from a relatively affordable handmade knife into something quite different. I was originally using 01 tool steel, but then people were asking, can I have it in stainless, can I have a leather sheath, can I pick my own handle? So the knife evolved into something more expensive, more elaborate, and the first idea went out of the window. So about a month ago I decided, right, I'm going to make a MK2, which will be different, and I'm going to stick to the original idea to keep it as affordable as possible for a handmade knife. We're not talking about more robust prices, but affordable. Back to the idea, simple Kydex neck sheath, and I'm not going to be taking orders on them. Basically, I'm going to make them as and when I've got time, and I'll just put them up for sale. That's it. So if you're new, look back in my videos, and there's plenty on the MK2 Tribute knife and other knives I make. So this is it. Nice and simple, strong, short yet strong. Two tubes, two bolts. Bolts are at the extremities of the handle for maximum strength. So if you're hitting the back of it with a baton to take down a small tree, then you've got a bolt right there. And if you're doing any twisting when you're splitting, you've got one right there. Not like some knives I've seen. Bark River for a start. That loveless bolt is back here somewhere. No good in my opinion. Needs to be as far forward as possible. Zero Scandi grind, my grind. I can't remember what angle it is because I came up with this grind many years ago and I've been using the same pattern since. That's it, basically. And now I'm going to try it out. Obviously I made a quick little feather stick with it just to light the fire, but I'm going to process some wood down. I'm going to make some implements just to get a feel of the knife to see if I'm happy with the prototype or if I need to change anything on it. First test I'm going to give it is processing wood. Now, I always take a saw. You know, a small knife like this needs to be paired up with 100% a saw and maybe an axe depending on where you're going. I've been using this saw for a few months and I really like it. I can't particularly pronounce it. Silky Nata Noko 60 with a 300mm blade. And this is a great saw. I really like this. I'm preferring the pistol grip saws now to the folding saws because it's a lot easier to hold the timber and saw with that handle. I've got a round. I'm going to split it down, but I'm not going to do all the work with the knife. I'm going to create wedges. This wood is pretty tough. I know that from past experiences. Not free. Definitely cutting it not free. Personal opinion, you know, if you can't split a round down with a knife and a saw, you need to seriously think about taking an axe. I live in quite a damp climate. It's a lovely day today, but it's most of the time it's raining. So I need to be able to light a fire anywhere. Put a little bit of effort into it, get a good fire going, and processing wood is the way to go. Easy fire today, it's dry. This woodland's got plenty of twigs, piece of cake. But sometimes it's not the case. I do have a pre-made batten, but obviously a batten is pretty easy to make and you don't even need to put a handle on it, just a lump of wood will do just fine. I'm looking at the round, it's slightly oval. I'm going to take a little chip just off that side there. So now you can see why the two bolts are there and why there's a protruding tang. Now I'm going to turn this into a wedge. I'm still not going through the middle. That works pretty good. Now, there's no way I'm going straight through the middle, but I'm going to try it. I don't think it's going to work. So just wanted to prove a point. This wood is tough. Now, you may have seen other people just making wedges and then just going through without starting the cut. Not on this wood. It's not going to happen. But yeah, I can process that down pretty easily now. And that's what I'm going to do. There you go, all processed up. Minimum use of the knife, maximum use of the wedge. Now, feather sticks. Always go with the outside edge because it's straight. That didn't split down particularly straight. If I used an axe or a big knife, there's a good chance I could have gone through the middle, split it up evenly. But at the end of the day, it's for lighting fires. Feather stick time. Outer split. So a nice straight edge on an outer split. Go from the thinnest end. This is tough stuff. Let's go in a bit. I'm struggling with that, so Surprisingly tough wood. Right, I've picked the 4 best ones, so I'm going to make 4 feather sticks. One of which is going to be an incredibly fine one, because I think that this dropped tip would be excellent for making super fine ones. Point of making super fine ones, well, basically ease of ferro rod lighting, and you can light tinders with very, very fine ones, and scrapings obviously, but we'll come to scrapings in a bit. Ideally I'd like a longer stick than that to make really good ones, but that was a not free chunk, so that's the card I'm dealt with. There we are, number 1, no problem. The only thing I did find, I'm finding it a little bit narrow for me here. But I did expect that I'd need to put a bit more depth on the handle. After I made it, I looked at it and thought, that handle seems a bit slim. Well, perhaps a bit round. So I think, yeah, perhaps a little bit more meat on there. Yeah, it's getting a little bit of fatigue, and that's only 1. And you need to make 4 before you can decide if that handle's comfortable. Right, I'll crack on. Super fine. Now that is pretty fine. As I said earlier, the reason for making them is if you're going to like charred material, if you've got charred punk wood in a tin, or you've got char cloth, that's the way to go. So char cloth, basically make 3 of them, stick it in the middle and blow it, and you will light these with char cloth. That's obviously if you can't find a tinder bundle anywhere. There's a bee behind me. There's always a bee around here. She's a pretty good feather sticker, but then I knew that was going to be the case anyway. Well, I think we better light them up. I might keep that one for something else. That spine is real sharp. Bit scraping. The spine is so sharp, I'm just shaving material off. Well, that's basic fire lighting covered with it. Splitting wood, feather sticks. On the way in, I found a piece of dead willow, which would be my bow drill choice for this wood, because there's plenty of dead willow here. It may be a bit far gone, but I'll make a kit anyway. You know, you don't have to make a perfect board, so all you need is one piece of the right thickness. So that is a good test for the tip. Tip's still fine, nice and sharp. Just need a drill now. Same stick. I'm going to go further up so it's a bit thinner, give me less work. Cut it off the same the other way. Now I just need to round it off. Knocked up a quick bow. It's not amazing, but I don't even know if this wood's going to work anyway. I got my SC tool, because I always carry my SC tool. This is great, so I'm using that as a bearing block. It has been about 2 years since I've done a bow drill. oh well, the wood isn't particularly good enough, so plan B. The most labour intensive way to make tinder ever. So although the bow drill set didn't work, perhaps if I persevered with it, and the fact that I cut the notch in the wrong side may not have helped. As I say, it's been about 2 years, at least 2 years since I've done a bow drill, so it's not too bad for me. Always got to practice. The knife performed brilliantly, can't fault it. Prepared all that wood, made tinder, made a bow drill set. I'm happy with that. Get on there. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day on there, because this video will probably be quite long. So I'm going to call this part 1, and I'm going to do a part 2 where I'm going to do some carving with the knife. I was intending to carve a spatula today and a netting shuttle, but as I say, this video will be long enough. I hate editing, I can't stand it. The reason I burn that bow drill set is because I am of the opinion that if you can't go into the woods, make a set and light the fire with it, then that's not training really. Just having a nice dry set and creating a coal, that's for people having a taster course. As far as I'm concerned, go out, make the set, get your fire going, then you're doing the bow drill right. Many years ago I could go from stick to flame in an hour, but I'm an old fat guy now and I'm a bit slower than I used to be. Right, so thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your comments, I appreciate your views, I certainly appreciate a thumbs up. Until the next time, don't know if part 2 will be next, but part 2 will come up. Ta-ra. My camera is on the wonk. There we are. Okay, unfortunately the bow drill set didn't work, but I'm a bit out of practice anyway. Maybe another go would have worked, but I could see if I pushed really hard, big chunks were coming off. If I pushed hardly anything, it was quite brown, so could be the wood, could just be me, who knows. The main thing is the knife performed well, because that was, start that again, because that's what I wanted. Test the knife. Tea. Well, I think I'll call it a day on this video. It's probably, start that again. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day on this video, because it'll probably, I can't get my fucking words out.